Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. We want to just make you aware of a really important date coming up, November 26th. We're asking all of you to pray for religious freedom in Canada. As some of you might know, we've been tracking the TWU, the Trinity Western University story. And Cheryl, you actually were in BC recently.
Yeah, it was just a couple years ago I was there. You know, as the story's been wending its way through the courts, basically it's just that a number of law societies don't agree with TWU's stance on certain moral guidelines that they've asked their students who go to their law school to do. So they're refusing to accredit them. And so it's been going through courts, it's been challenged, and it's about to be heard at the Supreme Court at the end of this month. And really, you know, this case has a lot of implications for religious freedom. We're going to talk about that, but first, here's a little clip about what this story is really about.
In 2013, Trinity Western University, a Christian liberal arts university in British Columbia, was given full approval by the BC Minister of Advanced Education to open a law school. Opposition arose from law societies in BC, Ontario, and Nova Scotia when they voted to refuse Trinity Western graduates the right to practice law in their provinces. Trinity Western then launched legal challenges against these provincial law societies, saying the decisions violate the religious freedom of the school and its graduates. So what was behind the conflict?
The issue for the law societies is our community covenant that we ask all students to sign before joining us. There are a number of things in the covenant about living life in this distinctly Christian community. One of the pieces of the covenant is that students, while they're here, will agree to reserve sexual intimacy for marriage between a man and a woman, because for us as Christians, biblical marriage is really important, really sacred.
Opponents argue that the school's community covenant discriminates against LGBT students who are unable to give up their identity. But Trinity Western officials say giving up one's identity is not the issue.
You know, we certainly want all Canadians to be fully free to be exactly who they are, whether they're gay, straight. We want people to embrace their identity while they're here. And for us, asking people to honor the Christian definition of marriage isn't actually asking people to go against their identity. It's simply asking them to honor the biblical definition of marriage while they're here.
You know, I don't think, and that's very important, and as we need to understand these issues, but really what is at play here, whether you agree that Trinity Western, should have a law school, that's not the issue. The issue is if you start mandating and not allowing this to take place, it's really going to affect our country.
And I think about schools, I think about Christian education, I think about other faith-based schools as well, not just Christian schools that could be affected by the decision the Supreme Court comes down with.
I think that's what people don't realize, right?
Yes.
You might say like, oh, I don't like what they did here or there, but actually the fact is whether you're a Christian or any other religion, this is a case about religious freedom in Canada. It sets a precedent. It could shut down Christian or any other faith education. It also could shut down many other kinds of religious freedom where religious communities want to express themselves in certain ways.
And I think that's the key, express themselves. You know, Trinity Western University, they've set kind of a doctrine, right? A certain contract that they want their students to sign. And when you can't express yourself as a Christian university or a Christian education system, that's when you see that things can be jeopardized.
When the state can tell you.
Well, and you know, part of the work that I've done with the Voice of the Martyrs, and we've traveled to countries where religious freedom starts to be restricted, that's what causes, you know, a lot of difficulty for minorities, Christian, or if it's Muslims in, say, India, you know, some of these places. So we have to be very careful. We say, well, you know, we're a secular society, doesn't matter. Yes, it matters, because it's really a God-given in us to have that freedom to choose.
Fundamental right. So join us in praying. November 26th, we all are going to be praying for this case facing the Supreme Court. We want the freedom of religion in our country. That's why we're here on 100 Huntley Street every single day. And so thank you for joining us in prayer for this.